couple of episodes ago I mentioned that I was going to be going on a trip, and that is still happening. The trip is going to be to the Baltic. The destination, Sweden, Germany, Denmark. So it's more like the western sort of Baltic. Might even try to squeeze in Norway if I get some time. I'm either going to head straight across to Gothenburg on the west coast of Sweden. It's direct across the North Sea. It's about five days, 500-mile trip. So it's a good offshore trip over there. The other route is to the Kiel Canal and transit through Germany and go into the Baltic that way. So yeah, it's all kicking off 12th of July. I will try and keep updated with the trip as best as possible. But obviously when you're sailing and you're sort of visiting these places, building content and editing at the same time, it can be quite a challenge. So yeah, please be patient. To get a real-time kind of idea of where things are going, I'll keep my Facebook page well updated. So yeah, just look out for Sam Sails UK Facebook page, and that is I'll keep updates on there as to how the trip's going. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to keep track of what's going on the channel. Thanks for watching. So I'm going to be heading down to Southwold this weekend. Tomorrow I'm going to be heading sort of up the coast. It's a little bit of a funny one because I need to plug the tide to get to Southwold high water, which is about 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Going to head round there and moor up, and there's sort of a harbour festival there where they're trying to raise money for the dinghy slip, which is sort of gradually corroding into the river. It's going to cost a ton of money to actually rebuild, so that's the whole sort of focus really, is to raise a bit of money for getting that completed. Probably going to be about 7 hours up to Southwold. My plan is to leave tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock, and it's sort of I'm going to be with the tide initially, and then sort of half with the ebbing tide from the North Sea, and then half of it, you know, sort of flood tide. Now the important thing about Southwold is that you don't ever try and enter it when the tide is running out, because it runs out at about 3 knots, and it's got quite a bore wave from the tide flow at the entrance, which can make it extremely difficult. It's also quite shallow, although I have been told that the entrance at low water is usually accessible, unless there's a very low tide, in which case you need to be, you know, you need to do your tide calcs for that. So the plan or intention is to arrive about sort of 1 hour before high water, and then make the entrance there with plenty of water, and just before, you know, slack, if you like. So yeah, I'm down there now, and I've got to go and pick my mate up, Carl, who did the sign writing for us. He is, well, because of the low water at Pinmill, another logistical issue, because of the low water at Pinmill, I've got to go and pick him up from Levington Marina in a dinghy. So I need to pull my finger out, get that inflated, and get down there as soon as I can. Engine's good. I've got my boat hook for picking up further down the river. Autopilot's on, dinghy's up front. Should be alright for water. Under the sea, in an octopus's garden. Now you can see what I've done wrong here, can't you? If I let go of that. Always look at your lines before you leave off. Ah, you're a shit. Oh, what are you trying to do, Sam Sails? It's just not good seamanship. That way. Oh, this wind is just pissing me off. Come on, dingy. I might. Christ, the tide is running so fast. I might actually put the throttle on and the autopilot. Wait for the bow to head round to starboard. Just see, it's like snaking backwards and forwards on the line. We don't want to be swinging round to port. There we go, starting to come round. Wind is taking the upper. Alright, so let's put that in gearer. Slack. It's good. I think he's alright. Bye dinghy. Cool. Off we go. What a way to start the weekend. Another fantastic weekend weather-wise. It's been quite windy today. Lots of jellyfish in the water. You probably can't see them that well, but there's plenty of them in there. Means the sea temperatures are up. Two routes to the Baltic. You can go to Germany and the transit through the Kiel Canal, which from from the River Elbe at Brunsbüttel to Kiel. That's about a 60 nautical mile canal. Up to Stockholm and the archipelagos there, Åland Islands, Marieholm. I was keen on getting up to Finland and Estonia, but the Baltic is a huge place, and yeah, I'm not going to do that inside 6 weeks. So if I can just get to sort of like the Blue Coast, that will be absolutely amazing, and get up sort of up to Stockholm. Just picked this mooring buoy up. Just linked to the Southwold Harbour. Just going to try and get this inflating the 3D tender. And I'm going to go and mow over there. You're probably asking why I didn't take my wooden one. Well, I'm not going to go back to Pinbell, so I'm just going to get this inflated, pick her up, come back, take it in, put it away, and then I won't have to worry about towing a dinghy, because I hate towing a dinghy. It's like one of my massive pet hates. I've had too many accidents with dinghies while underway to tow a dinghy. So this is good. No boards, just an inflatable floor, and it's light as well. It's like I can pick this up on my own. It's no problem. So that's the tender in. Just got to put the engine on the back. I'm gonna get a bit of water because it's so dry out here.
You may have heard that the outboard engine died as I was about to leave, and it would not restart, so it just turned out to be a bit of a saga there at Southwold Harbour. Even though I picked up a mooring buoy quite close to the entrance, yeah, it still meant rowing against sort of the wind and the tide round to pick Carl up, and of course when I came back out again, it was just starting to flood, so I was rowing out the channel as best I could, just not easy at all. But eventually we got back out to the boat, and yeah, had a bite to eat, and then just settled down for the early getaway in the morning. It's lovely coming down the river, just no boats at all, a lovely breeze. We didn't even use the engine on stowaway. We just had it ticking over as we left the buoy, just had the mainsail up and left off. So it turned out to be a very good sail all the way from the Orwell all the way around to Southwold. It was totally under sail. So the wind forecast was approximately force 4, maybe touching 5 in places, but all from the southwest, so we'd be running with it all the way around. As mentioned, I was keen to take or use some of the ebb to get round to Orford Ness Point, which is one of the most easterly points in the UK. And before the tide change, obviously plugging against that point is quite time consuming because of the amount of tide flow going around it. So I was keen to get round Orfordness before the tide started to flood, and then just beat against the flooding tide for the rest of the way up to Southwold. Even after passing Orfordness, we still had enough wind to maintain 4.5 to 5 knots against the tide, which is pretty incredible, so we were making extremely good progress. That all changed when all of a sudden my Genoa rail for the Genoa pole decided to shear off the mast. It's about a 1 metre section, just went bang and the whole lot came off. Very, very corroded sort of rivets behind it. It was the original rail on the mast, so that sort of slowed us down a little bit because couldn't keep the Genoa open or completely sort of hauled out, if you like, behind the mainsail. So in the end we just took the mainsail down and ran with the Genoa, and we were still doing about 4 knots. But here we are entering Southwold after about 7 hours from leaving Levington's, just about an hour before high water, so there's still some flood coming into the river at this point. So we had plenty of water depth wise. Obviously as you come into the river, just bear in mind that on the North Quay they do fish, and sometimes some of the fishing lines can sort of trail out into the river, so it's best to sort of cut away from that if possible. Give yourself some distance between the boat and the North Quay side there, especially when the tide is moving or the tide is flooding, because those lines may be draping out into the channel slightly. Once you're clear from the main entrance, you hug in against this fishing quay here, and it's important you do this and stay out of the main open part of the channel, because this is the deepest part of the entrance into Southwold. If you come out into the river slightly, you will lose that depth. There's a shallow bank around there, so if you look at the harbour entry sort of pilotage, it tells you to do that. So as you come to the end of the fishing quay, your sort of dog leg comes back out into the river again. You head towards some of the fishing huts. There's some fishing huts with a blue door on it. You head towards that, it should be fine. Obviously at high tide, I probably didn't even need to do any of this, but nonetheless, just followed the pilotage. Safe bet. So this is the ferry crossing point. There's a passenger ferry crossing point, so bear in mind what they're doing. Usually keep a good lookout for any vessels coming in. We saw Rummy 3, who I met in. I was rafted alongside in Ostend a few weeks back. And the flood tide does ease off slightly at this point, but we were still bombing down here at a rate of knots. And as we came past the stages, we saw the 2 other Nick 32s, which had turned up for the event. Tivoli and Moonlighter had got there just the day before. So interesting piece of the river here. You've got to turn around at some point because, wait for it, there is a bridge at the other end, and you don't want to get too far down that you end up colliding with it. So we had to turn around, and this was the point I was going to do it. Obviously just kept on the throttle, spun around, eased off into wind, and the bow just took around quite nicely, and we sort of spun round quite well. So we're just approaching the stages, obviously against flood tide now, so just crawling up towards Tivoli. We're going to be rafting three along, if you like, so there's not enough space on the stages to get stowaway on, so we were rafted 3 deep in total in the end. But it all went well. We just crawled along and came alongside, and that was that.
I've come alongside the stages. Actually, there's 2 other Nicholson 32s next to me, and I'm like the 3rd rafted out. So yeah, I've got a line which is running astern straight onto the stage, forward and aft. and that seems to be coping really well. We're settled in here quite well. The pub is literally about 20 metres away from where we're moored. The harbour, I think it's the Harbour Inn, and then they've got the stages, or the stage set up for the Save the Slip, which is just down there. So as you can hear, the music has already kicked off. This has got to be one of the hottest days of the year so far. Felt myself burning in the pub garden area, so I'm got my bag. I've just taken the ferry over, and I'm gonna go onto what is known as Warbleswick Beach, and I'm gonna have a dip in the sea. Not long. I'm gonna come back and do some food. I think probably fish and chips. Seen quite a few fish and chip shops here, so that's good.
It was a short and sweet visit to Southwold, and I was throwing the lines the next morning, ready to head back to the River Orwell. It was really good to team up with the two other Nicholsons and meet Alan in Tivoli, who'd come all the way from Faversham to this event.
Right, that's us away. Got my Harbour Festival t-shirt on, amazing. And we've got 4 metres, it's only just gone down, well, only just coming up from low water, but we've got a pretty decent amount of water today. And its chart datum here is 1.1 metres. We should have plenty of water to get across the shallower parts of the bar, so yeah, let's see how we get on.